welcome you guys. Welcome to the studio.
Thank you.
And
It's
why don't
good to
we?
be here.
Yeah, it's we're glad to have you. Oh my gosh. Let's go around and introduce ourselves, shall we?
Cool.
Let's go first.
Who wants to go first?
I want to go first.
Okay.
All right.
Wait.
I'm Sam. I play the drums and the cymbals.
Yo.
I'm John. I play bass.
Awesome.
And you look good doing it too.
My name is Chris. I co-founded the band with my good buddy
Kevin.
Kevin.
I sing. Kevin.
Also, yeah.
Also co-founder too. I like that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Vertigo Children Enterprises. I'm the CEO. You're the
We have a
CFO.
Facebook. We have a Bandcamp, Instagram. Soon to be TikTok too.
Wow. All right.
All uncharted waters here.
Oh yeah. Getting way into that promotion. We love to see it. Tell me about you guys. So you said you co-founded the band, you two,
Yeah.
and
We met at the bike. Oh, shouts out Jake from the Bike Project. He's kind of grumpy sometimes, but he's a good dude.
oh, I know the bike
he-
project.
He hooked me up building my bike. He's a really good guy.
And I work there.
Oh, yeah.
And
Oh.
that's how we met. And yeah.
Oh,
I think
that's very cool.
was I wearing like a daughter's shirt?
You were wearing
And
a
we were
daughter's
like-
shirt, and I was like,
Yeah.
oh, yeah, I think I was listening to this like side project of theirs. And
We were
we
like,
just
let's hit it
bonded
off.
ever since. Yeah.
And it's been history.
Oh. And what was the thought process behind like this kind of music? Like,
Yo, I actually love reminiscing on how we did that. We would
Yeah.
go in my basement.
His
and
basement was
it was like
disgusting.
dank and gross.
Oh, my God.
A lot of black.
Very
mold.
inspiring.
Yeah, the landlord is a scumbag. I don't know if like he could probably pursue me legally, but like honestly, worst landlord ever. I won't shout out his name, but there was like probably black mold in the apartment. So you hear that like forever in my voice now because that's probably in me forever. But it was just a nasty basement, and I have like no musical training really whatsoever. But I just love this kind of music, and I was like, Chris, let's just go. And I just started screaming, and Chris started playing guitar.
I started writing a lot of really bad songs.
Really
And
bad.
then we scrapped a few
Where
of
did that
them,
come
and then we got Sam on board, and I started writing more. So we started last year around December, I
Yeah,
think.
in
We
the
were
winter.
jamming
In the
around that
winter.
time, yeah. And yeah, winter kind of sucks, kind of depressing.
Yo,
Oh,
it-
yeah.
It gives us creative energy. I
Yeah.
would say.
right?
Yeah, I'd say so too.
Yeah, it gives you that time to like it fuels your creative juices, right?
Definitely.
Yeah, it's a good time for
Throw
that.
some hot cocoa in the microwave. pet your kitty, chill.
Yes,
Yeah,
yes.
stuff like
Get a
that.
ginger
Listen to
snapper too.
some depressive, suicidal black metal. Shout out my cat Pigu. Piggy.
And how about you two in the back
listening
there?
out.
How did you guys get involved in the band?
We started playing like around this time last year, I think.
It was in April, I think.
Yeah.
Sam wanted to have a house show.
We
at his,
debuted a house
the
show
impetus?
at
Chub Hut.
But,
It'll never
all
die.
right,
Yeah.
Vertigo Children had their debut there, and then shortly after that, we picked up our good friend John.
Awesome.
John's down to club.
That show that was like the impetus behind playing out a lot, I think. Because
Yeah.
at that point I was like, oh, we're not ready yet. We only have like 4 songs.
But we just gotta roll.
And
Go
yeah.
with it.
And that was a really
Roll
amazing
with it.
experience. And the people there were dumbfounded. 'Cause they were not
Yeah.
expecting that whatsoever. But I kind of
Good
like that.
experience.
Yeah, I mean, definitely your music gets a really interesting reaction. Like, the people here were, I don't know, none of those people knew what was even coming, you know
There
what
were
I
like
mean?
10 people in here at first, and then there was
And then
like
they're
2
like,
at the
this
end.
sounds like
Yeah.
crap. It sounds
Oh, yeah, no, I hope you're not offended by that. They were
Oh, no,
just
no.
doing
No, it's funny.
No.
Yeah, no, it's so interesting,
more
though. This
power
is
to the
like nothing
consumer,
I've
the
ever.
listener.
What did you say?
Oh, I said more power to the listener.
More
but
power to the
I
listener.
like. There's a lot of music that I just genuinely don't like, and I'm like, okay, do your thing though.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
You do you.
Yeah, you do you. So, on your pages and on a couple different posts where you guys describe yourselves, and as Chris has said too, so this is like what you call metalcore or noisecore. Describe that for people who might be unacquainted with what that means.
Kevin
You
is
want
sort
me
of
to
a
try?
metal
Okay.
historian, so
Oh, he's gonna take the wheel on this one.
he'll educate us.
I'll try to take the wheel. trying to map out like what bad word. There's some like bands that have like not safe for air.
Oh, I
words in
appreciate
their
your
title.
I
But-
appreciate your
Converge.
caution.
So, well,
Let's
yeah.
talk about
So
Converge.
like in my framework of our band, like I personally like a lot of like Japanese electronic noise music and stuff like that, where it's just kind of like a oral chaos. There's no kind of like harmony or rhythm necessarily. Like that can be there, but I was like, I want to bring that vocally to what we're doing here, and that's not necessarily like I wouldn't describe us as like noise music. We do have some songs that are just noise, but I like to.
On our new album.
Yes,
Oh my
new
God.
album.
Oh, got a
it's
new
coming
album.
out soon. It's like it's done, but you all will hear it very soon. But yeah, like I personally love like a lot of metal and hardcore music, and I think Chris, you would probably agree that you bring that kind of songwriting style to the table. But I like to I don't like to throw it in a box necessarily. I like to keep the genre free, amorphous, so to speak, while bringing all of our influences to the table. But like noisecore, essentially, like there are bits and pieces that you might hear and think like, oh, this is noisy and this is hardcore. But noisecore is more kind of like, I don't know. It's characterized by like 5-second songs and like
Oh, gotcha.
30-second or 30-song albums per se. So like we have some of that. We have some metalcore. We have some hardcore, what have you.
Yeah.
But it's Vertigo Children at the end of the day.
Yeah.
It's not one thing or another.
XD.
About a
XD,
year ago,
XD.
I started hanging out with Kevin more and
Uh-huh.
like getting into this music more and more, and it was just I really needed it at the time. And a year ago, I was like a graduate jazz student here at U of I, which was a really amazing experience. Shout out to that program. But for my like musical taste, I was like kind of burnt out a little bit, and which was my fault. And I needed a different sort of creative outlet, and I started listening to more and more hardcore music, and never looked back. And I'm very passionate about it
Yeah.
now. So
Vertigo Children forever.
yeah,
XD, XD.
So I have a question regarding in between songs, there was a little jazzy groove. Do you know which song I'm talking about?
Yeah, I know what you're talking
Did
about.
you write that
I get a
one?
lot of compliments, like or a lot of like
Yeah,
comments
they're
about-
compliments. They're all compliments.
yeah, I did write that one. And I even Pale Pink Counter is the middle of that. Yeah.
Oh, okay, true.
Yeah, we bring the
So-
jazz in Vertigo Children.
At yeah, this was one of like the first songs that I wrote, and the first couple songs that I wrote them like they were like jazz compositions. I took a really awesome class here called Jazz Composition with Jim Pugh, who's a brilliant musician and teacher. And I was writing a lot, I was composing a lot, and I wrote this piece on a lead sheet, and that's like a very like stereotypical like jazz thing to do when you're like writing out tunes.
Oh, okay.
So that was interesting to say the least. That went out the window. Yeah.
Yeah. And I know you, Chris, from when you performed with Zoe last 2 semesters ago, actually.
Yeah, that was like exactly a year ago.
Yeah. Oh my
Yeah.
gosh. Now that I think
Dang.
about it, yeah.
Time flies.
Time flies. Do you notice anything like how is this music like different? Your process behind it versus backing like someone else, like.
I think I just have a really broad musical appetite, and I just like seek a lot of different outlets, I guess. I don't know.
Yeah. And on that note, who would you cite as your guys' influences? I know Kevin said there's a couple there, and historically.
There are a ton that are totally safe.
Yeah. All right. You want to go around and say?
Let's
Yeah,
share.
I could talk
Yeah, let's
about,
share.
First, you go first.
I'd say Machine Girl. Shout out to Machine Girl's a big influence.
Yo, they're probably listening.
I wish. Yeah. Machine Girl, Converge. I've been listening to The Armed a lot. What else? The first like really hardcore band that I like super got into a year ago was Ken Mode. Some other bands that I've been listening to. Oh my god, I'm so nervous right now. I'm just so tongue tied. I can't remember what I was gonna say.
Oh no, don't worry about it,
You
Chris.
looking cute while doing it.
Take your
you.
time. Take it easy.
Thank you. Kevin, do you want
me
to say
to
some
go?
first? Lil Sammy.
Yeah, I had like a similar but dissimilar taste in metal from these two in I think a beneficial way. I was in a lot more like
Absolutely.
progressive metal.
Oh, gotcha.
And like gent, as they call it now.
Oh yeah, that's right.
So Chris usually will like approach composition with like a riff, like a very small bit, and I try to like rhythmically contextualize it, and that's easier for me to do from my listening experience and background.
I would say he goes dumb.
But
Go
yeah,
crazy,
I
go
think the
stupid.
I think the end product works really well. So that's like when it's my turn to contribute something to the song, it's I think much kind of rigid in a way, but I have like limitations that were set by like something Chris wrote.
Yeah, I wouldn't say that I like write the songs per se. I just write the guitar riffs and then bring them to the boys.
It's a collective piece.
Yeah, it's a collective composition.
Yo,
for
you
sure.
put in some work though.
Stay tuned.
Stay tuned.
John, do you want to share yours before? No,
No.
but you got some
John
good
is a
stuff.
little shy.
No,
got
come
some
on. We
good
want to
stuff.
hear. What's your
Jonathan Joestar. What do you have
Yeah.
to say?
Jonathan
Right
Joestar.
What I'm listening to right now, I'm listening to some Alvin Lucier.
Who's
Oh,
that?
okay.
Who's that?
He's I think he's French. I'm not sure.
Sounds like
I haven't
it.
even looked him up, like his biography. But he's done a lot of like sound installation stuff. I don't know what you'd call it. Quote avant-garde.
Yo, describe
Oh,
that,
yeah.
that wire thing you showed.
Music on a long thin wire. It's cool. It's
Oh
Yeah,
wow.
stuff
It's
like the air
elegant.
currents of a room
Oh really?
affecting the sound waves of a stretched piece of piano wire across a room.
Wow. Okay.
A lot of stuff that has to do with kind of getting at making the environment compose the music instead of a person.
Sounds like a lot of hoopla. to me.
Nerd.
I'm just kidding.
No, that's really cool though. I'd never heard of that before.
Yeah, Alvin Lucier, shout out.
Oh,
Good,
shout
good
out.
friend of the band.
Soon to be good. friend of
Johann
the band.
Sebastian Bach,
Is he
in front of the
alive?
Good
band.
friend of the band.
Dude, nice. Nice. Good job throwing that one. Yo, I'm so passionate about this kind of music. I'm just thinking about it all the time. It's all I do. So like vocally, what I want to bring to the table is like I consume a lot of metal and noise music, and there's a lot of dense vocal expression in there. And I think me and Chris would probably agree. Converge is kind of like a link between worlds.
Yeah.
That's not a Legend of Zelda reference. Actually, I've never played any of those. Well, I played Breath of the Wild. That one was pretty fun.
Yeah, it is.
That
fun.
was a fun one.
The vocalist of Converge on like
Big
many albums,
inspiration.
big inspiration. Like, it's kind of like almost like he creates a poem, if you will, and then almost kind of disregards like almost the words on the page to the point where the expression is like indistinguishable. And that's big for me. Like I'm sure as a listener, you're probably like, I can't understand a freaking thing he's saying. But in terms of
It's
just,
really beautiful.
Thank
the
you, thank you.
lyrics that Kevin writes are just amazing.
but
Alvin Lucier is American, just so we know.
Oh, okay. So that's kind of a
We're
surprise.
sorry
You
if
would
we
think,
offended
right?
any of our French listeners.
Oh no!
Separate
Oh my
literally.
gosh! There you go.
but vocalist wise, I love Converge, Jacob Bannon. I just try and bring all of my influences to the table in a amalgamation. I love John Chang from Discordant
John,
Sexes.
yeah, Discordant Sexes. Shout
June-
out Gridlink.
Gridlink, yeah.
Shout out,
Gridlink,
No One Knows
No
What
One
the
Knows
Dead
the Dead
Thing.
Thing.
Shout out,
Shout
Full
out
of Help.
Takafumi Matsubara.
Yeah.
Shout out.
Shout out, yeah.
Shout out,
Yeah.
Ilio Yearbook.
Junko from Hijo Kaidan.
Yeah.
Shout out
James
Yoko
XD.
Ono.
Mario from Super Mario Brothers. franchise.
Shout out James.
Big. I bet you like.
Oh, wow, that was really accurate.
Yeah, right? Yeah, big influence.
Got some good influences there.
Studio right now?
So, like, what is? It was a little bit difficult just from where I was standing because I wasn't wearing the headphones during the performance, but the people could hear what you guys were saying, like on air. So, what was like your favorite lyric from like what you guys sang tonight?
Ooh. The lyrics in it's this tune called This Stillness. It's the part where Kevin's speaking. I don't know if it like came across on the radio,
Yeah,
but
it was hard to
He
cut
was
across,
chatting.
but that specific song I chose to like. Some of the songs like have lyrics that aren't even like expressed in the song necessarily, but that one I took like a very purposeful, just kind of like spoken word expression. On the album, Sam did an awesome job of mixing in like some different kind of vocal expressions overlapping each other in a Today's the Day, Steve Austin-esque.
Yeah. Shout out Today's the Day. Shout out
Today's
Sam
the
for
Day.
mixing
Yeah,
the album.
It's gonna be they're playing.
He did an
in
amazing
April
job,
1st.
and I can't wait to show it to the world.
Shout out John, Jonathan Joestar.
He's blushing right now. He's really shy.
We're all anime girls, also.
All in the anime.
Shout
Oh,
out, Mom. Hi,
nice.
Mom.
Aw.
Shout out.
Hi, Mom. Oh my
No,
gosh.
we love John. Maybe not as much as you do, but close.
Yeah, so on the topic of your album coming out, so how would you say this new work is characterized as compared to like the stuff you've made before? The music you've made
Well,
before.
the only thing we released before was this very rough demo.
Gotcha.
And I think the increase in quality is marked.
Yeah.
So I think
would
it's
say-
going to be.
Just strictly like
holistically-
technically speaking, like
Well, I think it was like the demo was like a creative jumping off point, sort of. So
And we just
Gotcha.
like wanted to do it. We wanted to get our crappy like first work out of the way.
Yeah.
And we
yeah.
did.
Yeah, that makes sense. Like nice, like you said, jumping off point. Like
Yep.
test the waters, see how you feel, see how you work, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And how we recorded that little demo was so
it
different.
was way different.
Yeah, to how we recorded this album.
And how did you
and-
do that?
We recorded as a whole band instead of doing like separate instrument takes and everything. And we also
Awesome.
have more like creative control. We're using like a better space now. We got more equipment and whatnot. So
Chubb Studio. Chubb
shout
Live
out to
Studios.
Chubb Loft.
Chubb Loft.
Chubb
Or-
Skydeck.
Chubb's
But even like on our new album, I think we have like I don't know. There's a link to the demo too, and that like the whole demo was recorded live, but we do have a couple live tracks. Like I personally appreciate like a varying of recording quality and technique on one piece of music like, per album. So I thought that was fun to do.
Yeah. Well, it's really cool, you guys. That's cool that you guys have a different process across time too. You guys changed a little bit. How would you say you've changed other than, specifically in that sense, like in the quality sense? Like what
John joined the band.
Yeah.
Quality just like shot.
Dude, yeah.
Aw.
Hell yeah.
Shout out to John. Thank you, John. Shout out to Connor too. He did a
Oh,
great job
dude,
when he
yeah.
was in the band.
Connor
Thank you,
Stout.
man.
He played on our first on the demo.
I played a bunch of his bass lines. Like,
Yeah.
I learned a bunch of it.
Yep.
He's a good guy.
He's a big influence on
He
me.
is. He has a huge influence.
Otherwise, I would say the songwriting process is a little different now. It's more mature, I guess, and kind of structured.
Mhm.
Yeah.
I think we just we have like a lot of raw material at any given point, and say call it like 8 tidbits of raw material, and over time, those 8 tidbits might become like 2 songs.
Oh, that's
and
cool.
we kind of sift them apart until they start working together. And then more tidbits will be added, and there's more sifting that needs to be done.
Yeah.
And then eventually everything's been sifted and we kind of have our songs. And yeah, I think it took making that first demo to realize how to achieve that,
Yeah.
then that process. But I think that kind of structure will be apparent on the album.
Yeah.
I think so too.
It
Oh, that's
feels
cool.
it feels holistic to me.
Yeah, it makes sense. It really does. And that's interesting you put it that way too, because a lot of musicians are like, oh, I just sit down and I brainstorm, and obviously that goes into any song, but you guys like you said, the tidbits, and then they become works of art basically.
Yeah.
I thought it was super cool, Chris. You had a post back in October, I think. And
We do.
you
be
got deep
posting.
on that post on Facebook, and it was really fascinating to me. You talked about how Vertigo Children is near and dear to your heart, and
Yes.
Yeah.
Truth. We love
Thanks,
you too.
D.
Yeah, I really, and I can really feel that like warmth toward the band. I know it probably sounds crazy to people who like are just now listening to this kind of music, but like it's really close to you, like, and you
Yeah.
created that.
Yeah.
So how has being in this band changed you, like, or how has it influenced your life?
I think it's been a really good outlet for me. Just kind of, I mean, life is crazy and absurd, and it helps me process all the weird,
Like
crazy
a
stuff.
plastic bag.
Like a plastic bag. Yeah, shout out American Beauty.
Oh
shit,
yeah,
Katy
that
Perry.
movie.
I was kidding.
I thought you were talking about the Katy
but-
Perry song,
Oh.
but you're right.
American
it-
Beauty too. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's from American Beauty too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't know. It just in art, like, you know, there's very little risk for, you know, saying the things that you need to say. And I think this is a good channel for that. And I also, this is like my dumb philosophical idea. I don't think you can express everything through words alone. And I think that there are just things that need to be expressed that are channeled effectively through art. And I think this is the culmination of that in my life. So
Totally. What about the rest of you? What's the band been like for you?
What the last piece Chris said resonated with me. Not being able to express in words. That's why I just yell indistinguishable words and punch the amp in the speaker cabinet and punch the ground. And yeah, but on a serious note,
and
it's just,
salute the sun.
yeah, and salute the sun. True. Shout out Solaire from Dark Souls. But it,
Shout out WeFit Trade.
I main Pokemon trainer. On an off note, Squirtle's really.
I was
fun
gonna
to
say,
play.
what's your partner?
But it's this is something I've always wanted to do. I've always had like this like urge to create in this context, specifically like vocally expressing that through this style of music. But it's given me a good schedule. It's added to my I put it on my CV now. So you know, career building.
Oh sure, yeah. What about you guys?
How has Vertigo Children changed me? It's well, for all of us, I'm sure it's an outlet. I appreciate how it can when music juxtaposes like something air quotes high art and air quotes something low art.
Lowbrow.
Lowbrow.
There's a
Mm.
lot of lowbrow.
So playing at a local bar where people are watching football on the TV and drinking Chardonnay, and then if you look to the right, Kevin's rolling around sweating and like screaming into the microphone, and those things coexisting in the same space is very interesting to me.
Beautiful.
And being able to have people listen to us, or maybe not, I don't know.
Yeah.
But I'm always shocked and grateful the reception we get after we
Yeah.
play. I'm sure 90% of those people aren't going home and listening to music like us or our music even. But everyone is very appreciative, and it says usually something like, wow, like you guys said, like, wow, that was high energy. I've never seen something like that. I was disturbed when Kevin shoved the microphone into his mouth, but I stayed through the whole thing, and here I am telling you about it. And that's what makes it worth it, I think.
Dude, totally.
That's
Yeah,
really
it's an
nice to hear.
experience.
And that just reminded me of this recent gig we had at the Loose Cobra. Shout out Matt Talbot. Shout out to the
They
Loose
were
Cobra.
so welcoming.
They were
and
very
accommodating.
welcoming and hospitable. And yeah, there was this group of people. It looked like a double date.
Oh,
And
yeah.
they were
Dude,
they were like these
they loved me.
middle-aged people just like kind of hanging out. And yeah, they probably had no idea what they
But
were
they-
getting
they were
into.
very
But they seemed very
enthusiastic.
sweet, and I remember they came up to you, Kevin,
Yeah.
and they said,
That was
like,
awesome.
"Oh, what
Yeah.
was that?" You
Yeah,
know,
they
like,
they wanted to learn. That's like that. I don't know. Like
yeah.
my-
And you got a picture with them.
yeah,
too?
yeah, yeah, yeah.
Aw,
With
that's
your-
fun.
So, yeah.
Yeah.
But they were like, take a picture with us. That was so cool. But they were. I mean, I don't know. My take is like anybody can have whatever opinion of whatever they're consuming at any
Mhm.
time. But I personally am very open to experience, and I just want to learn and maybe perhaps understand, maybe not. But they're just like, what the heck was that? Like, tell me about that. Like,
Yeah.
what do you call that? And I was describing to them noisecore and world from Japan, and 2 people screaming in a microphone and one not saying any words, and the microphone just feedbacking. They were like, okay.
You ever see that YouTube
Okay.
video of Yoko Ono singing the Star Spangled Banner?
No, I never have.
She's a freak.
Unironic,
She's a
big
freak.
inspiration.
Yoko Ono, man. What about you back there? How is
What
this
about you,
band?
Jonathan Joestar?
Yeah.
Pretty good. It's a pretty good band. I like it. So it's an outlet, kind of like all these guys are saying, but it really kind of changes how I approach all other musics that I play. 'Cause, like, me and Chris met in music school. We're both in the jazz department.
Mm-hmm.
I'm still in there, but it's kind of stifling sometimes doing so much work on one single kind of music all the time.
Yeah.
And then
Jazz is a very insular sort of community.
yeah.
Oh, okay.
And so it's been, I used to do a lot of metal before I really started, quote, seriously studying music.
Yeah.
And then it just is all consuming the school. So this is
Takes a lot of
really,
energy.
it's really healthy and really fun to go and do something purely because I want to play it and I like playing it. I like how it sounds, not because someone else is telling me that this is good music, so I should learn how to do it.
I'm
Yeah.
a professor, and you're doing okay, but
Oh,
you need to
thanks.
study more.
B plus.
C.
See?
Just kidding. A
C's
plus
get
is
degrees,
forever.
man.
Get degrees.
Yeah.
Oh man. Well, I love that you all have this connection to your music. It really is special to see that on this show, and that's why I love hosting this. So thanks for being here and
Oh, thank you for having us.
Yeah.
Thank you to WPGU. Shout out to Conservatory of Central Illinois. Shout out to Pattern Recognition Records.
Oh, true.
Thank you.
awesome. And how about where can we find you next?
We don't have any gigs coming up, but we will be releasing the album soon.
Oh, Being is Bereaving is the album title.
I like
I
that.
think it's so funny.
So cool.
I
How about
came up
social
with it.
media and music? Where can we find all of that?
Vertigo Children XD.bandcamp.com, and also our Instagram handle is Vertigo Children XD.
Awesome.
The music
Okay.
will be available hopefully on all large platforms.
Yes.
Soon enough.
That's
if you
great
would
to
like
hear.
to support it and buy a digital copy, you can do so on Bandcamp.
Yes.
Yeah.
Otherwise,
Name
we
your
will
own
have
price.
cassettes and CDs and merch
Mm-hmm.
shortly.
That's awesome. Well, good luck to you guys, and
Free
thanks
love.
again for being
you.
here.
Thank you.
So, oh my gosh.
Except for John.
Oh no! Don't throw him under the bus.
No. We won't go into it.
Well,
But that was with love.
With
Yes.
love. Okay.
One love.
One love. Well, thank you again, guys. This has been Loud and Local on WPGU 107.1. If you like the show, or if you're up for hearing more of our guests in the future, we are on Sundays at 5 p.m. new time. We used to be on 7 p.m. and now we're at 5 p.m. So be sure to be here or be square.